Today we're tapping maple trees on the homestead.
Alright, let's do a little.
Yeah.
Maple syrup is a really fun project to do with your family on your homestead. But homestead maple syrup production is a little bit different than what the large-scale producers do. So in this series about homestead maple syrup, we're going to share with you all the tricks that we've learned doing this over the last few years, how you can do maple syrup with your family very inexpensively. We're actually going to show you how you can get some of this equipment for free, but also safe, because there are some risks to doing maple syrup.
Look at me, this is my warrior hat.
Today we're going to be tapping our maple trees on the property. And we have a couple different pieces of equipment to do this with. We have some metal and some plastic spiles. So we have two different bits. We have a 5/16 and a whatever these are, not 7/8.
Does it say on it?
Look at that, we have a 5/8. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen. I forget what the bits are. But these are for our two different kinds. We have a metal and a plastic spile. You want to find a sugar maple. It's important that it's a sugar maple. Some maple trees don't have the sugar content that this one does. I've read that generally you're looking for an 8-inch diameter. This is just one tree, but it's got multiple trunks of that size. So every year we've done this, we've tapped multiple trunks. Plastic spile, and this is our metal spile. The plastic spiles we'll use down lower, and they will run right into a bucket with this tubing. They can't hold the weight of the bucket. We'll use these metal ones on these higher trunks and higher spots that they can hold the weight of the bucket. Before you go and drill the hole for your spile, you want to make sure that you have enough tubing to reach the bucket, because if it's up here, you're going to lose a lot of your liquid. So we're going to drill this so that it fits in right about there. Okay? So now the key is, when you drill this hole, you want to drill it slightly uphill so that the sap runs down into the spile.
Like how?
And see that piece of tape? Yep, just a little bit uphill. And see that tape right there?
That's telling you to stop.
Exactly. The tapes are markers. So 2.5 inches is your maximum depth into the tree, somewhere between 2 and 2.5. So when we're not going to hit that tape. We're going to stop before we get to the tape. Okay? You got it?
Yep.
We're pointed slightly uphill. We made sure we're ready for our bucket. Let's do this. Keep pushing, keep pushing.
Ow. Your legs.
Actually, don't forget to move your bucket. We're catching all the wood shavings. Oh, look at the saps flowing already. So that goes in there. We're gonna take our axe. You ready? You wanna try it? So I'll start it. Go ahead and try it.
Okay.
We have these lids. These are actually lids from a chicken waterer. The chicken water that we bought, the chicken waterer was a piece of junk, but the lids had that little hole right in it, and that's perfect for sticking the tube through. So we like to use these when we're using the tube spiles. You slip the tube down in there, keeps it in, keeps debris out. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's do another. Remember, you gotta tilt it a little bit up.
Daddy. Nobody? Mama.
I am changing bits now from my smaller bit. The larger bit is for our metal spiles. honey, you gotta have two hands with this guy. Give it a good solid push. Push in. All right, good job. We hammer in a different spot. We hammer it right here, up there. See that?
Is that when the sap comes out? It's like, I'm gonna come out already. I'm gonna come out already.
All right. Obviously that one's already flowing, so that'll work.
Are you tasting it? A little sugar.
It tastes sugary?
A little.
How's it taste?
Not that good.
So this guy,
Yuck.
you just take that little part, you hook it up there, and then you hang one of your buckets. Our 2.5 gallon what were frosting buckets are going to be perfect for this. They'll have a bit more weight, but they won't be as heavy as the 5-gallon buckets. So they'll be good for hanging. That one's flowing already.
Thank you.
Good job, kiddo.
It will take forever.
It seems like it. I have to check them every day.
Right about there.
3, 2, 1.
Push it right in with your finger, push it in as hard as you can, and then you start banging on it. There it is. Look at you.
Hard. Nothing yet.
So he just did that whole one all himself. This is a great project to do with your kids. It's very hands-on. They're learning skills with tools. And it's a really fun if you do homeschool, or even if you don't do homeschool, just to do something on the weekend together. And this whole process, collecting the sap, bringing it inside, and then, you know, boil day, it's all really fun to do as a family. So good job with that, man. You did great.
Thanks.
We got this tree completely tapped. Each of the trunks on this sugar maple has a spile in it now. Each day we're gonna come and collect all the sap that's in our buckets, bring it inside and refrigerate it. You tap maple trees in our area generally around this time period, or about halfway through February, when the mornings are very cold and the nights are very cold, but during the day it gets warmer. That helps increase your sap flow. Maple syrup is a very stable food. You don't worry about maple syrup spoiling because it has an extremely high sugar content and because it's gone through a boiling process. However, maple sap is mostly water. The sugar content throughout the sap is very minimal, and that means that you can have microbes, you can have bacteria, you can have bad stuff in that sap which can cause it to spoil in just one day. So you want to make sure each day to collect your sap, bring it inside, and put it in the refrigerator. Larger scale maple syrup operations will process their sap quickly, but on the homestead, you're not going to get enough sap to do an entire processing each day. You're going to want to put it all in a freezer or a refrigerator, and once you have, 10, 20, 30, 40 gallons of sap, at that point, you take a day, you do your boil. Remember, it usually takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup, and 1 gallon of syrup equals about 4 liters, which is generally the size you purchase. So if you can gather yourself 2 5-gallon buckets worth of sap and keep that in a refrigerator or in a freezer, at that point, when you boil it down, you'll have a liter. I have some great links below to really good food safety articles, one by Cornell University, another by the state of Wisconsin, that talk about food safety when doing your own maple syrup. So go ahead and read those articles, but if you don't want to read them, just remember, use food grade buckets. You don't want to use metal buckets that are galvanized or metal buckets that have soldering. You want to use food grade, either metal or plastic. The plastic buckets are cheaper, but they gotta be food grade. You don't want to have chemicals seeping into your maple syrup. And also remember, your maple sap can spoil. As you can see, we have this entire sugar maple tapped, all the trunks. Some have already started dripping, some haven't, but they'll get there. If you're wondering about the equipment we use in this video, I'll put affiliate links below to the equipment that you can purchase on Amazon. Some of this equipment you can't purchase on Amazon because you can't purchase it. We actually got it for free. And in tomorrow's video, we're gonna tell you how you can get free, safe equipment for doing maple syrup. So food grade equipment for free. So make sure to stay tuned for that video.